Do you ever feel like manifestation is just another thing on your to-do list that you don't have time for? Like your spiritual practice is something that you have to do? Honestly, you're not alone because I felt that way too. Something that's really changed my relationship with manifestation is blending it into my lifestyle so that no matter what I'm doing, I'm also manifesting. I call this manifestation as a lifestyle, and it's single handedly made the entire manifestation journey more enjoyable for me. And I've seen my desires show up with a lot more ease. Manifesting as a lifestyle has made manifestation go from feeling like a task to something I just naturally do because it's who I am. If you'd like to learn more about this, I've created a step by step guide for you. I'll link it in my show notes so you can check it out. You're listening to the Affirmation Addict podcast with Pyle Corley. This podcast will teach you about the power of affirmations while making manifestation easy and accessible for you in order to enhance your spiritual consciousness. Thank you so much for being here, and now it's time to get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Affirmation Addict podcast. My name is Pyle, and happy Tuesday to you. So today I had a few things that were on my mind to talk about, and per usual, I think I'm just going to go for it. But something that's been on my mind very, very heavily is all of these kind of not misconceptions, but misunderstandings and misinterpretations and misrepresentations of manifestation. Because I feel like when someone first learns about manifestation, it is so exciting. It is so fascinating. There are so many cool things. It feels like the world is in our hands and we can create magic, which is true. But I have studied manifestation since I was 12. So at this point, it is over half my life. And I feel that so many people miss the point. And when they get into manifestation, most of the time they're into it because it's a promise or it feels like inspiration that some of their biggest desires can be theirs, which is true. But when I see a lot of manifestation teachers and a lot of spiritual teachers, I personally feel like it's crossing an ethical boundary. And if you've listened to my podcast for a while or followed me for a while, you know I have very strong moral boundaries when it comes to how I teach manifestation. Because I understand marketing. I literally studied marketing in college. And I understand that some of the most effective marketing is fear-based. We present to you a problem, we show you your problem, and then we tell you how we can help you fix your problem. And just ethically speaking, that still rubs me the wrong way to an extent. I get it if the intention is to help, and I understand that that is necessary because sometimes people do have these problems and you don't know how to fix them. But I think there are some boundaries being crossed in the spiritual space. I know I'm not the only one to think this. I have a ton of different spiritual friends who feel the same way. I have clients who feel the same way about other manifestation teachers. And it is so interesting to navigate the space. And maybe, I don't know fully what the topic is going to be of this, but I feel like this is kind of like a heart to heart on my honest, unfiltered thoughts about what manifestation is and how it should be approached, and just some key things that you can start to do that will really help you. And it's probably contradictory to what a lot of people say because it's not glamorous. It isn't kind of a quick fix. And so I want to just be honest with you with what really has worked for me in terms of manifesting multiple things in my life, as well as just different perspective shifts and unpopular opinions that I think can really benefit you if you're willing to go past the glamour of manifestation. So I hope this is interesting. I hope this helps you. And I want to first start with the fact that I think a lot of people believe manifestation is a quick fix and you don't have to do anything. And I have been talking about this a lot more recently because my relationship with action has changed a lot. But I think there is so much power in allowing yourself to be inspired to take action. And that action does not have to have anything to do with your manifestation. I think when we think of inspired action, say you are manifesting money, we assume that that inspired action has to connect to money in some way. It has to have some financial implication. It has to do with how you're spending your money. It has to do with something money related. And I actually think that's an unfair limitation. I think when you start to think of inspired action, allow yourself to be inspired. Maybe you're inspired to text someone you haven't heard from in months. Maybe you're inspired to hop back on a LinkedIn. It might not be financial. It might be person related. It might be food related. I don't know. I've seen some amazing things happen. But when it comes to inspired action in the manifestation world, one, don't force it. Don't think what makes logical sense, because most of the times inspired action actually makes no sense. It is such divine timing and it falls into place in the most random way. So it might have nothing to do with actually what you're manifesting consciously, but allow it to unfold and have fun with it. So that's my kind of tidbit on inspired action. And I do think action is so necessary in the manifestation space, especially if you're trying to create things. Why? Because when we are manifesting in a really cerebral way, when we're thinking about it too much, we are not shifting like our physical energetic space. We're not shifting our reality. We're not calling in a difference of like momentum in our life. And so having those physical shifts is actually going to create more physical shifts too. Another thing in the manifestation space that's really been heavy on my mind is when people show one lifestyle, and I think I have an image in my mind. The image I think that is most popularized with manifestation is a luxury lifestyle. For some reason, it is very, very popular to manifest like flying on private jets or flying business class, getting like major travel upgrades, buying like Louis Vuitton handbags, and all of these things I think are very associated with manifestation. A lot of these like luxurious physical things. And I don't see anything wrong with that. So please don't take it that way. However, I think when that becomes the most popular and most common story, it can start to actually have a negative impact on the masses, where two reasons. Where one, you feel like because luxury and this type of expensive or luxurious lifestyle is possible for somebody else, that is like the only thing you should be manifesting. And if you don't manifest it, it means you're doing something wrong. And the only reason I say that is because I've had clients ask me, hey, I'm unable to manifest those things. What am I doing wrong? And then I kind of dive deeper and I ask them, well, is it because you actually want those things or because you think you're supposed to want those things? And 90% of the time, it's because they think they're supposed to want those things. And so my kind of concern with the classic manifestation lifestyle that's portrayed is it can have some adverse impact. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, if you love luxury, if you love truly with a passion, not for status reasons, not because you think you're supposed to want it, but because you have a passion for it. If you love manifesting a Louis Vuitton bag or flying business class, if that like makes your soul happy, please go for it. But for most people I know, including myself, manifestation has nothing to do with the luxury side of things. It actually has to, well, actually, let me rephrase that. It doesn't have to do with like the luxury side of like material things. It actually has to do with the luxury side of my feelings, like the luxury of feeling peace when everyone feels chaos, the luxury of feeling calm when I used to be anxious, the luxury of feeling unconditionally loved from my husband when I used to have really bad relationships, the luxury of feeling safe and secure in my body, even though it's not by any means perfect by societal standards. Like that to me is luxury. That luxury of business class travel, fancy bags, name brand clothes, like mansions, and like that luxe living, I personally don't associate with luxury, mainly because it's just not my style. Like I think I have been conditioned and programmed that equals success. But I honestly feel like I've made it. Like I was having a conversation with a really close friend and I was like, I feel like we've won the lottery. Like we're in our dream homes. We're working our own hours. Like we have husbands and partners who really love us. And like we have good relationships with our family, like we're healthy, like what else is life about? Like, sure, having a luxury bag might be cool, but I am one of those people who luxury bags mean nothing to me. Like, I want a purse to carry my stuff. However, for me, on the other hand, like Indian clothes, like nice Indian clothes, even if they're not designer, just the fabrics, the colors, that is what makes me feel like I would rather spend money on that. But I don't wear Indian clothes in my day-to-day life. So in my day-to-day life, you guys see me in very basic, neutral, layerable pieces because that is my style, especially in my day-to-day life. And so I think what has been really kind of playing around in my mind, and I'm so curious how you feel about this. Like, I would love to hear your DMs or comments on what this feels like for you, because I feel when I've talked to my one-on-one clients and I've talked to students in my courses or app members, I've heard them say like, I feel like I want it because I've seen other people who are in the manifestation space get this. So I know it's possible for me, which is true. However, if it's not your desire, if it's truly not a desire from your heart for like the true reasons of like, I want to feel peace and this will make me feel connected to my higher self, then two things. One, it probably won't manifest and then you'll feel frustrated. And secondly, it might actually end up in a self-sabotaging cycle. And so what I'm trying to say with all of this is when it comes to manifestation and what you're wanting to manifest, don't feel like you have to stick to a certain lifestyle. It does not have to be luxurious in the material space. It doesn't mean you have to just buy expensive things. Maybe you love that, but also I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate because I used to think that I wanted all these luxurious things and I actually purchased a lot of them. And they didn't do anything for me. Like, I bought the expensive bags. I booked expensive tickets. I stayed in fancy ass hotels. Oops, sorry, I never cussed, but oh well, here we go. Like, I stayed in these nice places and they were fun. It was exciting, but it didn't feel like me. Like, what feels like me is like gardening. And I know that's so silly, but I feel my most abundant in two situations. One, when I wear lehengas, which are Indian clothes, when I wear lehengas and twirl around, I feel like my highest self. And I know that about me. And I'm working on bringing that side of me more to my socials. But that is one time where I feel so tapped into my higher self. And the other time I feel like that limitless stream of abundance, it's not when I'm flying business class. It is not when I can buy a $5,000 to $10,000 $1,000 bag. It's not when I feel abundant. You know when I feel most abundant, and I'm not joking, we have orange trees in this new house, and I have literally got tears in my eyes when I saw the orange trees blossom and they have flowers, and watching those become fruit literally is what made me feel so abundant. I was like, wow, we live in such an abundant universe, and like Mother Earth and nature is naturally abundant as she is. And that truly on my heart made me feel the most abundant I've ever felt. And that might not be true for you, and it doesn't have to be true for you, but I'm just wanting to share that I have experienced the super material luxuries as well as like the emotional and nature focused luxuries. And for me, those nature focused luxuries feel so much better. I always get a ton of questions in my DMs from people asking how I can manifest X. The truth is, you can really manifest anything as long as it's for the greatest good. And if you're having trouble manifesting something right now, or you feel stuck on your journey, I have a really beautiful resource I've made for you. It's a free quiz. It's called the Manifestation Archetype Quiz. And it's something that I've created so you can find out your manifestation style to give you more clarity on your spiritual journey. After taking the quiz, you're going to receive the best resources for your specific archetype to help you attract your desires based on where you're at and what you want to create. So you can find a link to the quiz in the show notes, or just head to my website at www.affirmation-addict.com. I actually starting to get anxiety when I would shop too much, like seeing my closet fill up, having too much clutter in my home, like that actually did not feel good to me. That felt exhausting. It felt claustrophobic. It felt suffocating. And that might not be you. Maybe you love luxury. Maybe all you've ever wanted since you were 5 years old is a Louis Vuitton bag, which is fine. Like that's beautiful. But that's just never been something for me. And when I watched other people share their manifestation journeys for a long time, I always thought that that meant I was a successful manifester. And I just want to remind you, no matter what, you as you are a powerful manifester. You are a successful manifester and you are a capable manifester, no matter what, right now, in this second, as you're listening. So I just wanted to clear that up because it's been so interesting having conversations with people, noticing different manifestation teachers, and it's all about like the wealth and the money. And I think that's so empowering because it is important. And I talk about money as well. However, I do think that it's not the only way. And I think it's important. And I think it's my responsibility to call out that things that I have manifested, like my soulmate, it doesn't mean that you need to manifest your soulmate. Maybe you're someone who has no desire to get married or be in a long-term relationship. But for me, that was always important. I knew since I was literally 5 years old that I was going to get married at age 24, and I did. And that is always something I knew because my heart just knew that. And so kind of go back and think of like your sustainable and like consistent habits and desires you've had since you were younger. That might give you a really good indicator as to like your true desires, because it can be really hard to peel away and figure out what your desires are when we're living in a world of constant influencing. We're living in a world of everything is an ad, everything is a billboard, everything is trying to influence either a buying decision or a clothing decision or a skincare decision or a lifestyle decision. And so just don't be afraid to go against the grain and do something that other people aren't actually doing. It's not wrong and it doesn't make you weird. Or maybe it does make you weird by definition, and that's okay. It makes you authentic, and I think that is so powerful. And so I personally am trying to be more clear in the fact that the things that I have manifested do not have to be the things that you need to manifest, and the things that other people have manifested do not have to be what you want to manifest. So it really comes down to, and I've been talking about this a lot, getting so clear on your what and your why. Because if your why to manifest business class travel is because you saw someone else do it, that's not for you. That's still influenced by someone else. Maybe you still want that, but peel back. Get so clear on your why, because once you can be fully honest with yourself as to why you want something, it will come into your life. And on that note, speaking of like material luxuries, for a really long time, I wanted a lot of these material luxuries, and I was like, I want them because I will feel abundant. And I want them because I will be able to feel like I am a powerful manifester and that I am enough and that I'm worthy. And I was way too scared to admit to myself that I actually wanted them to be able to show others how far I've gotten and to show or prove something to other people. And I just want to call out, being honest with yourself is the scariest thing you can do, because we start to judge ourselves really quick because we know it's not our higher selves. It is not your higher self to care what other people think or to buy a nice car because other people know it's nice and that sends them a signal about you. That is so scary to be honest with yourself about. Probably the hardest thing I've had to do. And once you can start to have the courage to be more honest with yourself, you'll be able to start to see manifestations flow in because you are not lying. You are fully aware of why you want something. And when you're so honest, you not only start to receive what you actually want, but you actually know what you actually want. Like I thought I wanted a certain type of home in a certain area in Arizona, and it was fully because it's a nice area. And I wanted that label. And I've talked about this, I think, on a whole podcast. So don't be afraid to be honest with yourself. I know it is scary. But if you lie to yourself or you're pretending like it's not for other people, you're pretending like you're not judging, you're pretending like you don't want people to see you in a certain lens, then you're only lying to yourself. And it's only a matter of time that is going to come up and you'll have to work through it. So might as well start now. So I hope that's helpful. That's something that really helped me in recent years on my journey. Like one of my biggest goals wasn't manifesting, and it was because I was trying to prove myself to my family. And once I finally admitted that to myself, it released the resistance, and then it started to unfold really fast. So it's very powerful what being honest with yourself can do. And don't sit in shame. Just be honest. Just like, yeah, actually, I do feel like I have to prove my worth to my parents. So how can I work through that limiting belief? And once you kind of work through that, it just shows up like ease. And so it's a really cool thing that helped me, and I hope it helps you. And then a different thing that's been on my mind that I wanted to share with you. I'm going to look at my notes real quick because I feel like I can explain it better. Nope, it's not in here. Oh, okay. Yes, it is. Okay, so 2 more things I want to share on manifestation is, well, let me focus on this one, is I think that there's a really big concern on the manifestation journey that we're going to manifest the wrong thing. Okay, sorry guys, my camera died and I want to keep it checked in. So I am going to cut off this episode. I will continue talking about what I was mentioning earlier in the next episode. I'll talk about kind of dropping the plan and manifesting the right versus wrong thing. I will talk about that in the next episode. Thank you for being here, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If this episode resonated with you, it would mean the world to me if you could rate and review the podcast and share it on your social media so I know to keep creating episodes that are inspiring you to manifest. I'm so genuinely grateful for the time we shared today, and I'd love for you to join the community by following @AffirmationAddict on Instagram. To continue diving into spirituality and manifestation, head over to my website, affirmation-addict.com. Until next time, I'm sending you so much love and so much healing energy.